right, continuing on in the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous at our Big Book Summer Boot Camp. Ladies, we're going to talk about sex. And we're not going to read the whole thing just because this is a boot camp. We're boot scooting it through. So we're just going to talk about the highlights. And the first and most important highlight that I want to talk about is that we are not the arbiter of anyone's sexual conduct. It's none of your business what anybody else is doing. And it's nobody's business what you're doing, as long as you're not causing harm. So the only time I feel I need to butt my nose into something, and it is a corner of the room conversation, not a conversation with 10 of my friends, is if I see harm. For example, I had 3 newcomers that I was working with. They were all in their first 30 days of sobriety, and they were all dating the same guy. And then one of my other sponsees had 2 newcomers, and those 2 were also dating this guy. So in 30 days, this guy was dating 5 newcomers. Did I gossip about him and tell everybody he was 13-stepping? No! I pulled him aside at a meeting, and I said, hey, funny thing, your name's been coming up a lot with all my new girls. Not 1 new girl, but 5. I'm like, you need to stay away from the newcomers. Of course, he didn't like that conversation and got quite nasty with me, but that's my responsibility as a responsible member of Alcoholics Anonymous, is if I see someone that's causing harm, to raise my voice. What do we define as harm? Well, for me, I feel I need to have a voice if I see someone taking advantage of newcomers in sobriety, if someone is taking advantage of children, or in the odd case, animals are involved. Right? Like, let's use discretion. But other than that, it's none of my business. You know, if I know that my girlfriend's boyfriend is doing the nasty with 3 other girls, really, it's not my business. It's not my business to shove my nose and tell her her boyfriend is cheating on her. As much as I want to get involved, it's none of my business. She may already know. She might be embarrassed by me bringing it up. Her and him might have an understanding. It's none of my business. What's going to happen? Anybody know what happens when you get involved in someone else's relationship? It always backfires at you. Every effing time. So let me tell you right now, we are not the arbiter of anyone's sexual conduct. This includes in sponsorship. Your sponsor has no right to tell you you're not allowed to date in the first year of sobriety. I can't stand people who do that. Why? Because it's putting boundaries on someone, and it causes them to go do it and to not talk to you about it. What do I do instead? Hey, new girl with 2 months of sobriety. I know that new guy you met that's in the treatment center is real sexy, and I know you want to get going with do the nasty with him, but, you know, I really don't recommend getting involved with someone in your first year of sobriety until you've done this portion of the work, because you probably haven't had a sufficient change to do a different relationship, and you're probably going to get the same result. But I know you're an adult, and I know you've got desire, and you're probably not going to listen to me, so I'll be here when it goes wrong. Because I don't want them to walk away and go, oh my God, Kim says I'm not allowed to date in my first year of sobriety, so screw her. She's not my sponsor anymore. I'm going to date this guy that has 30 days that's living at the treatment center because it's a good idea. I would rather her date that guy and come to me for advice and confidence to be able to guide her through this process in the book than have her turn her back on me. That is why that one statement, don't date in your first year of sobriety, is the worst that you could ever tell someone. Because guess what? They're gonna. And so I would rather just say, hey, maybe it'll work for you. I haven't seen it work for anybody else, but, I'm here to help guide you through it. Right? They're not going to listen. They're going to go get the D. That's what they do. Like, let's just be honest. So we're not the arbiter. We're here to guide them to God and show them this process. I don't recommend dating before you've done this process and you've looked at your ideals that we're going to talk about. And I'll say that. Till you got to page 71 of the big book, you shouldn't date. Well, you better get through that work quick then, huh? right? Let's get her done. I want the D, right? Come on now, Melissa.
I find this concept really, really, it's so strange because I've been in big meetings where this has come up, and I have tried to sort of plead your point, like, and not even just that it says plainly in the big book that we're not arbiters, but also that we're so uniquely not qualified, right? Like, we are so fucked up, and yet we're saying we're sitting on our high horse because we have a year and a day going, yeah, you should not be dating in your first year. And I'm like, I said this in a meeting once, and just literally a parade of people went on and on and on telling me why I was wrong. And what they used as their evidence was, okay, then, yeah, it's true that arbiter thing is there. But then what about no major changes in your first year?
So raise your hands who's had it worked out, right? Like, if you got 100 people in the room and they're all like, no dating in the first year of sobriety, I'm like, okay, so you all didn't date? If you can't follow your advice, don't give it, right? Unless you wore a chastity belt for the first year of your sobriety, shut your mouth. You're just here to lead by example and show people what you've done, right? I'm here to lead by example and tell you all the time I messed up and how I got through it and how I'm doing it now successfully. Successfully. You guys know I'm dating. I talk about it freely. Am I crying over everyone that didn't work out? No. I have a day that sucks where I'm like, oh, well, it didn't work out. Moving on. Right? Unless you've gone a year and not dated a single person, don't tell other people not to do it because you know it's not going to happen. We need to live in reality in AA. We need to live in reality in AA and give people the tools to live in reality. Because they're going to meet the guy. They're going to want to date him. They're going to do it. So let's give them the tools to try to navigate it successfully. Because otherwise they're not going to call you. They're going to be shacked up with him in 2 months. That's what they do. That's what they do. Marianne, they're in love after 2 weeks. It's on Facebook. It's Facebook official, and they're moving in 2 months. Always.
Hi, friends. I am an alcoholic from Toronto. My name's Marianne. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober today. So this is where I have to be really careful because I can only keep it to my experience and take them through the big book. So a lot of times people will do this with me, and I'll just say I don't have experience with that. I have experience doing these steps, so just keep in touch with me while you go through this. And I would talk to other people that have dated within the first year of doing this process if they're still here. Like, find somebody who's had that experience, but keep it to experience. Because I tended to want to talk through my ass, too, about no major changes and stuff like that. But I had no experience. So what am I talking like that? I caught myself one time going, well, they say, and I go, oh, no. That's not, it's got to stay to my experience. I keep that as a rule.
I stick to the big book. And you know what I haven't found in the big book? The line where it says, do not make major changes in your first year. It's not in the big book. Actually, the big book says to make the most major change possible and to change your entire psychic being within the first 2 months if you can. The big book tells you to change everything about yourself as fast as you can. So, like, these people, they're talking my way, my day. Don't date in the first year. No, how's about we tell people to get through these steps in 2 months like our founders did? Get their shit on track. You can do whatever you want after that. Go through this process, start living this life. Game on. It works. It absolutely works. Priv. I need candy.
All right, keep it under 2 minutes, Chris. In 2007, I had my last drink. So you guys know I had a little experiment with CBD, which ended up becoming pot, which ended up being a relapse. And so my new sobriety date is 7/28 of 2020. But at 6 months sober, I met a guy, and we're still together, and with three kids. Didn't marry him. We call each other our husband and wife because I'd been married twice before. We're domestic spouses, or what is it, domestic, common law spouses. Am I going to get into a new relationship within the first year? No, some of us have come into this program and are in our first year with spouses. We have other circumstances. I have a couple friend of mine, they met in treatment and they're both a million years sober together. They're married. They are, I've known other, and it doesn't always work out that way. I also met a boyfriend in treatment, treatment number 3. And he died of 36 years old of cirrhosis of the liver. I had my first AA husband who, we met in the rooms. I was 18, he was 32. That worked out, he drank again after 11 years. I mean, relationships are not our strong point, generally. I know there's a line in here, job or no job, wife or no wife. We don't get well if we place, I can't paraphrase it like some people do, but if I'm not placing God before everything else, I'm not going to get well. And I think that that's one of the most strong lines in the book. But yeah, I love that. We're not the arbiter of anyone else's sex conduct. I'm not going to tell anybody what to do. I'm not I think as sponsors, we're not relationship counselors. We're not therapists. I'm not whatever my credentials might be outside of this program, my job is to carry the message to an alcoholic who still suffers and take him through this book. Nothing else. So there's a lot of things we hear in these rooms that's outside of the scope of this book, and I love it when you bring it back to this. So that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And the biggest point I want to make is there is successful relationships that happen, but the thing I want to point out is how are you in that relationship? How are you if that relationship breaks down? If you've done this process and you're living this way of life and God is the center of your world and you are practically applying this program in your life, you're okay. You're okay. But if you meet a guy in your second week of sobriety and you guys shack up in your second month of sobriety and now that relationship is the basis, how are you when he goes away for the weekend with his friends? Oh, he doesn't ever leave your side? That's a problem. How are you if he goes out on a Friday night with his guys? Are you in your head? Are you spinning? You're not well. How are you if he leaves you? Oh, you picked up. That's the determination, right? Derek, the guy I'm seeing now, he's out of town. Am I in my head? Nope. Am I worried about it? Nope. Am I thinking, is he with other women? Nope. He messaged me this morning. He said, I'm going up in the mountain. I won't have reception till Wednesday. Have a great time. I'm not spinning. He has a life. I have a life. Separate. And we are starting to make something in between. If you're in a relationship in recovery and you think it's successful because you don't fight, but you live together and you're always with him and every meeting you go to is with him, how are you if he went out of town by himself for a weekend? How's your head? That's the gauge. That's the determination of your sobriety. Because I can tell you right now, all these girls that I know that are in these relationships, it's codependent as fuck. It's riddled with fear and insecurity and self-consciousness and worry. They are hooked to the hip. That's not healthy. A healthy relationship is two people who have their own lives, who come together and form a life together. That's a healthy relationship. And if you're new in recovery and you're starting to date, I'll tell you the timeline. There's a thing called courting. It happens before you're dating. So if you meet a guy at the beach and he's cute and you're hanging out, you're courting. You shouldn't be texting all day, every day. You shouldn't see each other every day. You should be living your life and he living his and touching base. If you talk to someone throughout the day, what do you talk to when you're with them? After 2 months, it moves into dating. People start to show their true self between 2 months and 6 months. That is dating. That is when you start to get to know that person at a deeper level. In that point, you're saying, do I see myself liking this person? Do I want to be around this person? Then you move into dating with intention, where you have an actual conversation out loud that you are not both going to be dating or sleeping with other people. That's at almost 6 months. Not in the first 2 weeks. You're dating. You are not in a relationship yet. It's dating. You're getting to know this person. You're not telling them that you love them and you meant to be. No, you're seeing if they fit in your life. And then you find out that they go camping and they leave all the shit in the trunk for the next 2 weeks after you go camping, and they don't roll up the tent and put it back in the bag. That's not someone I want to be with. I like my shit organized. What's your garage going to look like if the back seat of your guy's car looks like the town dump because he throws his water bottle? This is a true story. These are the things I think of. If I move in with this person, what is my garage going to look like? If his car is full of garbage. We need to find out these things. You need to go away for a weekend with someone on a vacation to see how they act. Then at about 6 months, you can decide if you want to be in a relationship and you have a conversation with the person about it. You don't just assume that you're in a relationship. You talk about it with words, in person, not by text message. Then you can start talking about love. Then you can start talking about all kinds of stuff after that. That's the good timeline to do. 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months. That's my thing. If I can handle someone for 2 weeks and feel comfortable and not feel icky about it, okay. Then at 2 months, they show themselves. You start to see the real person after 2 months. You can't be in love with someone before 2 months because you haven't actually met them. You haven't actually seen that side of them that they haven't showed you yet. And that doesn't mean, oh, he farted beside me. I know him well. We're so good. No! It's all the little day-to-day stuff. You know, when he pulls out in the morning, he's like, oh, I got to take my happy pills and I got to make sure I book my therapy appointment. Wait, what? Tell me more about this. What's your mental health status? You need to know what medication somebody's on. These things are important, right? Because you want to live with this person. You want to know what their stability is. What are their habits with their job? What are their habits with their family? How does someone talk to their mother? I went on a date with someone who disrespected his mother. You know how fast he was out the door? So fast. So these are the things we want to look for when we first meet someone. And we're not going to look for them when we're in our early days of sobriety because we don't have the confidence. We're seeking validation. Ladies, validation is for parking. It is not for dating. True story. True story. I put it on my Facebook the other day. I love that quote, right? Validation is for parking. It's not for a relationship. So what do? We review our conduct from the past. We're going to do a sex inventory. And let me tell you, we're looking to see if we were selfish. You were. Every time. And so here we have a guide, and it's based out of the big book. So the page 69, the middle paragraph, it gives these instructions. So I've actually created a template. Hang on. Here it is. So this is what we do for each relationship scenario, whatever you want. We're going to break down what a scenario is in a minute. So this is straight from the big book. It's just written down. You can print this sheet out 10 times and do it for each one. I like to do it on loose leaf paper. You'll see that in a minute with my example for my ex, Tony. So we are going to write a brief paragraph on the situation, the person's name, and a brief situation, paragraph about it. Or if it was prostitution, if it was getting free drinks for cute boob shots, whatever it is that you've had in your life, we're going to do it. One night stands, you can group them all together. You don't need to do each one night stand by themselves. So you can put one night stands. If you were involved in the sex trade, you can put all of the sex trade together. You don't have to break it down by Johns. But if you had one that was a sugar daddy, you do need to set that aside. I've had lots of experience in the sex conduct. Can you tell? All right, so after you write a brief paragraph about what it is, you're going to ask yourself, where had I been selfish, dishonest, or inconsiderate? If you were selfish, dishonest, or inconsiderate, write a little description about how. Who did I hurt? Obviously yourself, possibly the other person. What about your kids? What about your family? What about your friends? What about your employer? Anybody ever ditched their friends to go hang out with a guy? You know, hey, Susie, can't come out right now. I'm really bogged down with work. Meanwhile, you're going out with Joe Blow because he was available and you don't have enough self-esteem to say no to him because you already had plans. Happens a lot. Who did you hurt? Did you hurt your children? That happens a lot. How about your family? Bringing someone home to your family and having them get attached to that person. And then that person gets thrown to the trash because you did something or we broke up or you didn't properly vet them. Did I unjustifiably arouse jealousy, suspicion, or bitterness? So did he piss you off and you put on a sexy dress and went out to the mall? Did he piss you off so you wore a little low-cut top and went to get some people to hit on you to make yourself feel better? That's validation, people. It's for parking. It comes into these categories. Where was I at fault? Again, what could I have done differently? What could I have done differently helps you find your fault. So there it is right there. What should I have done instead? Does this person deserve an amends? Yes or no? And then we'll do that in a second. So here is my example for Tony. Tony, we dated for a long distance. He clearly didn't want a relationship, wasn't really great at engaging. I pursued him. I used him as a safety net. He was a long distance boyfriend. It fit my brand. I could have this guy and not have to have him around. So I used him. Selfish. I needed a boyfriend to complete the picture of what a successful woman was in my head. He was a safety net, so I could talk to him and get validation and feel good about myself. Was I dishonest to myself? I was super dishonest to myself. Was I inconsiderate? Yes, to his wants. I was a bit pushy. I was inconsiderate to myself. I was inconsiderate to my sponsor. Who did I hurt? Myself, my kids. Tony's fine. We've made that amends. I did not unjustifiably arouse any of these. That wasn't part of that relationship. My fault. I ignored red flags. I stayed too long for mental security. I left after his intentions didn't match mine. And I fell in love with potential. That's a good one. I do that. Or I did that a lot. What should I have done? What should I have done differently? Left after his intentions didn't match. Amends. Originally, I wrote no. The split was amicable. I have since called and made an amends to him and tied up loose ends. Make sure you tie up loose ends, ladies. This is a big one. A lot of the time, we leave people in limbo. I believe the millennials call it breadcrumbing now. Where you don't really end it, but you're not really in it, but it's there to like pull up if you need validation or if you're feeling low on a cloudy day. No, we tie up those loose ends in sobriety, right? Jay, boat boy. I sent him a very clear message when he messaged. He's like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Want to cuddle? I said, no. I'll actually read you exactly what I said if I didn't already. If I didn't delete it. Hang on. I said, as much as I would love to come over and cuddle, I get emotionally attached, and you've made it clear you don't want a relationship, so I'd be hurting my own feelings. Goodbye. That's what I said. I tied up the loose ends. I'm not leaving it open-ended where I'm like, oh, I'm busy, can't come over to cuddle. No, I don't want to cuddle. I want a relationship and you don't. Goodbye. We tie up those loose ends. People are breadcrumbing, leaving them along. You know, the hey, thinking about you once in a while. No, if it doesn't fit, you end it. Melissa. Oh, yes. And of course, I'll put my email in the chat. If you want those guide sheets, I will send them for the sex inventory. Melissa, go ahead.
Melissa, alcoholic. I feel like I need to write down what you just said, because no matter how the person ends it, they always come back. I'm learning this in life. Nobody's ever gone for good. And can you just say that one more time, that text?
Yeah, I said, as much as I would love to come over and cuddle, I get emotionally attached, and you've made it clear you don't want a relationship. So I'd be hurting my own feelings. Goodbye.
Thanks.
And he responded, I understand. I was clear and concise. We don't leave things open because that's what we do. Because then when we seek that validation, it's so easy and we let it pop up. I'm on a big book study. She's going to have to wait.
Can we add one more person at a time to the pool?
Sure.
Okay.
Sorry. Hi. So yes, all the situations. People say, oh, go right back to that first time you've masturbated. If you want to, go ahead. I think relationships are the ones where you really want to look at what your behavior is. Me masturbating when I was 15, it really doesn't fucking matter, right? But definitely if you were involved in the sex trade, definitely if you were constantly having one-night stands, like I said, lump all the one-night stands together. Fuck boys are separate. Booty calls are separate. So one-night stands are one-night stands. Fuck boys are the ones you call and you screw repeatedly, for the older ladies in the group. So if you have one that's a booty call and you use him all the time, you got to put him separate. If you like to go and get free dinners by going on dating apps, yep, I've had a girl that did that. She was on dating apps for free dinners. She'd go out for a free dinner every different night of the week. You got to put that down. What else is there? If you are one of those girls that likes to flirt to get free shit, right? Flirt with people to get favors, that goes down. But the big ones are your relationships, right? All the other stuff, we're going to clear that up by getting rid of your fear of not being good enough and fear of not being loved. All that, the booty calls, the low cut tops to get free shit, that's validation, right? That's what that is. But you want to look at it. Priv.
I've got all kinds of stuff to say today. I've been with Nate for the last 13 years, and I've done previous fourth steps prior to this. So a lot of these things have been cleared up in prior, working the steps. And then that's not to say that things haven't resurfaced. And, I'm still on good terms with every one of my exes except my oldest biological dad, who we don't even know where he is. He might be in a meth lab somewhere. We just don't know. I'm open to the amends process with him, but we just don't know where he is or what he's doing or if he's well. He'll probably make it onto this inventory too. My question, I guess, is if these things have been resolved, do they come back on this inventory?
No. If you've dealt with it and you've seen where you've been selfish and you see your patterns, you don't need to write it down again. Also, if you've been married for 25 years and the person you're married to is the only person you've ever been involved with, that's great. You can put that person down. Don't forget, you can use code words. You can use code words if you don't want to use the person's name. You can use code situations if you live with someone and you don't want them to see this at all. I will also say if you have been married for 25 years, you need to look for any situations that maybe you withheld sex or maybe you withheld affection to get your way. We need to look at those things too. The other one that comes up is people who've been celibate for freaking 25 years. If you haven't dated in a really long time, we need to look at that too. Why?
Just a second, guys.
Because
there was one. Oh.
Yeah, because sometimes
sorry.
That's okay. If you haven't dated in a really, really long time, we need to look at why. Are you afraid to date? Is there fear based there? Like, we need to break that down too. Go ahead, Priv.
No, just the one thing that I found is that when rejected, how did I retaliate? And that's one thing, like, did I decide, am I going to just put on like a cute outfit and do a selfie? And there's nothing wrong with that per se, but what were my motives? Did I want a whole bunch of likes, validation, attention? So it's just interesting to, examine those and what do I want to do different next time?
100%.
I love taking selfies.
100%. I take selfies every day, right? Mine.
I know,
and people are like, people ask me, they're like, "Oh, you take a lot of selfies." I'm like, "Yeah, because I have self-esteem and I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of where I've come." And to do my little motivational quotes, you have to put a picture.
Love it,
Janine.
Hi, Janine, alcoholic. Hi, everybody. Grateful to be here. So question is, my new sponsor is an elderly lady, and she's Catholic, right? I've had her for about 3 or 4 months now. I love her. Awesome. She's really Catholic. And the suggestion is the no relationship, or she didn't tell me to dump my boyfriend, whatever, but or anything like that. But how do I come at her with she's saving herself, but she said I'm good with that. She has 29 years, but I'm just like, I don't know how. I don't want to be a prude, and I don't know how to come at her like with.
Honestly, she might not be the right fit for you if you're worried about judgment from her from anything you do. That's just what I'm going to say. Right?
Okay.
If you have a sponsor that you are scared of saying something to out of fear that they're going to judge you or shame you for your behavior, you need to move along.
All right.
Yeah.
Roger that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Because you need to be comfortable talking about these things. And if your lifestyle doesn't match with their lifestyle, this isn't going to work. You need to be able to be open and honest with people, right? People say whatever. I've heard some shit, right? And it's because they know I don't care. They're not going to get judgment back 100%, right? But if you're scared of judgment from your sponsor, you need to rethink that big time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there's no place for that in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? We come here to get rid of shame and guilt and remorse. And if we have someone that's, using that word prude, I'm like, oh yeah, you gotta move along.
I love it.
Right? I'm like, no. There ain't no prudes in Alcoholics Anonymous, let me tell you. And you'd be surprised too. Sometimes it's your fear of judgment that's causing, but if you had a conversation with her, you might be surprised and she might be like, oh yeah, the reason I'm this way is because, right? But if she's just straight up super religious and you might not match, right? I thought someone wasn't going to understand it. And I said something, they're like, oh yeah. I was like, what? You? Right? Remember in the big book, we had that lady, she was like 90 and she used to be a hooker wanted for murder. That one knocked me off my chair. I was like, I didn't see that coming. You never know what a person has behind door number 1 here in Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, so homework number 1 is to work on the sex conduct. We are going to talk about ideals next time because it's a whole nother conversation. So don't worry about the ideals meditation. We're just looking at our sex conduct. I'm going to clean up dog poop now because my carpet cleaner is coming. I love my brother-in-law, and I'm so fortunate that he comes on the same day when my dog has big accidents. So I will close up with the Serenity Prayer. Email me to get those guides if you haven't already gotten them. And let's close with the Serenity Prayer. Who keeps us sober today? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Lesson
Right
of
on.
today,
Thank you.
validation
Love you
is for
guys.
parking.
Guys, have a good one.
Thank
See
you.
you guys Wednesday.
Actually, I get sort of sad when the meeting's over. I'm like, oh, it's over. But that's okay. I got to go and do homework.
Yes.
That's right.
I got a whole bunch of new blue light glasses.
Oh, look at that.
They help with they're when you're on
what
the
are-
computer all day.
Oh,
They
I
help
see. Of
block
course.
they help block the bad lights.
See, that's why I wore
That's
my
actually
Foster
excellent.
Grant.
Yeah, so we need to get rid of the Foster Grants and get you some blue light glasses.
I'm gonna have to do that.
They're fun.
Does a blue light affect your vision? I wonder, because eyes are everything. I would
Well,
not want to
that's
be blind.
when you're on computers so long, it makes your eyes tired, and that it can cause headaches.
Well, I do get headaches, but I
Yeah,
think it's
so
because
blue light glasses are supposed to stop that. They have ones
Okay.
for kids too, because kids are on the screen so much.
Oh, sure they are.
Yeah.
They practically have them in the womb. There's practically a computer when they come out of the womb. They're
Right?
like, here's
Welcome
your first
to the
laptop.
world. Here's your iPhone.
Before they walk, they're on their iPhones, right?
Right?
That's cute. But yeah, actually, the thing that came up today was staying too long.
Yeah.
Everything. And then when the person finally dumps you, you can't even stand them, but you're all broken up.
Yes!
Oh, no.
Right?
It's so funny.
Yeah, we're messed up people.
And actually, with work was the same thing. I worked in a dum-dum job, I call it. And I stayed there 14 years, and finally it ended. And I'm like, oh my God, what was I doing? So, yeah, the whole concept of fear of change, obviously.
Yeah.
Fear of change and rejection and non-validation. Interesting. And it permeates not just the sex relationships, but work and friendships that you stay in too long. And you know what? If you saw the trunk of my car, you and I would never date.
Well,
Well,
that's just it, right? It's like if someone's a clutter person and I'm a clean freak, it's never going to happen. Or if they
I don't
fix
like clutter.
if they never fix a cupboard that's broken and they just leave the cupboard like without a door, I was like mortified. I'm like, this isn't going to work.
It's gross. I would never date myself. Not a chance.
Yeah, go ahead, Marianne.
So, what if you feel like you just have sex out of obligation?
Oh, that's not good either.
Is that selfish?
It is selfish, but it's the selfish where it's the self-pity or the being less than.
Okay.
Yeah. Because remember, selfish doesn't always mean that you're better than it. It can mean that you feel less than, or like doing things out of obligation is low self-esteem too, not setting boundaries.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
I put my email in the
Yeah, I'm just
chat,
copying
so
it right now. Hang on one sec. I'll just do it. Yeah, see, I take those off and I feel like weird.
I have a question for you, Kimberly. It's not to do with anything here. It's to do with your candles.
Yep.
Do you have any new scents? And are you able to make me a certain scent if I were to request it?
What scent is it?
Patchouli.
I do.
Oh,
I
the old
did.
hippie scent.
Yes.
I did actually have some patchouli. Funny story. Patchouli's hard to get across the border.
Oh, really?
But yeah, I can totally make you one with patchouli.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I will email you then, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, and as for new scents, I'll have a Christmas line coming out soon.
Oh, yay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kimberly.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kim. Have a good day.
And then I'll put stickers in with your order because the stickers go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Thank you.
Right on.
Have a good day, lady.
Kimberly,
Take
can you
care.
send me some information about the candles, like how I can purchase them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm just sending you this right now, and I'll just put my website in there too. Yeah, because all of our restrictions are getting lifted. All of the shows are happening in the fall, so I'm so busy. Oh my god. I'm like booked.
Yay.
I'm booked at live events and stuff, which is where I make good money. But they're long and hard.
How do you market yourself? Like, if you know how to market yourself, it seems so hard because it's such a glut of everything out there now. It feels like whatever you do, there's 1,000 people that do it. You know,
Yeah.
How do you stand out in this crazy world?
Well, I have a niche with doing recovery stuff. There's not a lot of people doing recovery stuff well.
True.
And so I just kind of have luck with that.
Yeah, you do. And I mean, not to put I hate to put people on a pedestal, but I don't want to make you uncomfortable. You really are like an inspiration to many people. So you kind of.
Yeah, I have a weird cult following. It's funny. Sometimes I don't know how to explain it to people. I was trying to explain it to Derek. I was like, I kind of have this Facebook thing. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's really weird. And I have a YouTube channel, and he's like, what? I'm like, yeah. But I don't know. I just.
Yeah. Well, it's because you speak the truth and people need help.
Yeah, I just do my do, right?
You're non-judgmental and you're fair to everyone. You don't, you make everyone feel welcome.
Yeah, I just.
That's not an easy skill.
Do the do.
You do the
Kimberly.
do.
Here, I'll put my website in here. So if you just go to my
Kimberly, can you please send me what we talked about on silver and God being there all the while the silver is being refined?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The silver. I have that in my notes. Yeah.
Please and thank you.
Okay, guys, I literally have to clean up 5 dog poop piles in my living room before Al gets here to clean my carpet.
Poop patrol.
Everyone have fun riding tonight.
Poop patrol.
Take care. Thank you for everything.
So exciting. I'm on poop duty today.
See you. Take care.
I love you, Lois.
Everyone, have a great.
Carol, did you get the website there? Carol, I popped it in the chat. Did you get it? Hopefully you did.
I'm writing it down right now.
Okay, yeah. So there's tabs, and it'll say candles. And
Yeah, hang on 1 second. Don't close out just yet.
Oh, I don't have it. Yeah.
I emailed it to you, Charmaine.
Thank you so much, Kimberly.
Okay. And do you do one quick question?
Yep.
Do you do what are your wicks?
They're wooden.
Your wicks are wooden. Okay, good.
Yeah, and I use 100% soy wax. They're all natural.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty, perfect.
I'm very earthy. You know me.
Yeah, that's good. All right.
Yeah.
Super.
They're
Thank
really
you.
Cool. Okay, bye.
Carol, good to hear your voice.
Bye.